Hey, it's MK, and I am here with another Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. Here is the sketch that I will be playing with today, and it is by Karen Foster. She is scrapping on a fly here on YouTube, and I'm going to turn it into an 8.5 by 11. I'm not sure if I'm going to rotate it yet because both of my photos are vertical photos, so I don't know. I just know that these stripes reminded me of tire tracks. I had to. So I am going to be doing another race car layout. I picked out a couple elements from Uniquely Creative. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to be using the yellow and orange because the yellow does work with the pattern paper that I picked out, but the orange and yellow are just the different tones because this is obviously her car is bright and loud. I'm also going to use this Brave flare from Scrap and Happy Studio. You guys, I cannot tell you how much I love these flares. And then, of course, Minte Garage pieces. I pulled out all of the wrenches and some of the piston heads, as well as all of the tire the steering wheels, because hello, race cars. From Tim Holtz, I've got this really cool tire tread stencil. I'm going to use Ocean Poppy from Picket Fence Paper Glaze. This stencil was gifted to me by Janet Fritz, who is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. This is the amazing Paper Rose paper that I had picked out because look at that. It matches her car perfectly. I could not have planned that if I tried, you guys. I've had this paper in my stash forever, and this car is only 2 years old. So I have to say that was perfect. All right, I'm going to take this black cardstock and I'm actually going to trim it down. I thought I was going to have the tires go vertical, so I'm going to make sure that my paper is the perfect height for what I want to do if I do it vertical, just in case. So then that way my tire treads will fit no matter what direction I choose to create this layout. So I'm just going to take this Ocean Poppy, paper glaze and create tire tracks going all the way down my black page. And I counted and I need 5 of these. So it actually ends up being perfect, the perfect count. And I did make sure that I did not cut it exactly at 8.5, because if I cut it at 8.5, then I would have allowed myself too much space for the spacing of my tire treads. And then of course I cut it down to the size that I needed it already. That way I knew exactly how long to make it, and I didn't waste product that I'm just going to end up chopping off anyways. And this is assuming I am going to still be doing a keep them going up and down, keep them going vertical. I am cutting them off because I'm too impatient to wait for the texture to dry to keep going. I want all 5 of my tire tracks to be ready to go when I do get to create. I do have to go off the camera and clean the back of the stencil up at the top. Just so that way it doesn't gunk up the seam, but it ends up doing that anyways. All right, so I'm going to spray all of these using my Dilutions black spray, and it is just so stark black. I love that. Then I'm going to take this raspberry, I don't know how you guys say that, raspberry shimmer pen by Close to My Heart, and color up my tools. Now, the one that was already gold, I went ahead and just flipped over and used the other side, so I had pink tools. And when the ink soaks into these chipboard pieces, which they're almost like balsa wood, they're a different chipboard, but when they soak into the chipboard pieces, they'll be a little bit more vibrant than what you see me coloring. And then, of course, I'm going to take my Dollar Tree paint and try to spray it. This is the first time ever that I have sprayed with that Dollar Tree paint. I'm not sure if they even sell it anymore, you guys. I bought it a couple years ago, but I do know that there is an awesome product out there that takes its place, and I will be talking about that tomorrow. Oh my god, I can't wait to share it with you guys. Okay, so I went ahead and decided that I did want to rotate the layout because of my pattern paper. I didn't know how I was going to get it in that rectangle form going if I would have kept it in the same orientation. So I did rotate it, and now I'm just trying to figure out how much of that paper that I want to see. And I do have to say it is in the background, so you won't be able to see it, but it's mostly the color that I wanted from it. And then, of course, I went and edge distressed my tire tracks because no tire track is ever left, pretty on your concrete or in the mud or any of that stuff. So I went ahead and distressed all of those. And I also have to say that putting this paper glaze on top of my cardstock made it feel rubbery like a tire track. So I was super excited about that too. So now I have a rubber texture too. Not that anybody's going to touch my layout, but hey, I got to, and it was so cool. And now I'm just going to audition my steering wheels because I thought that it was going to be absolutely perfect. Kristen put up these half circles at the ends of her strips, and I just was like, what? I've got steering wheels and an abundance of them. I have so many, it'll be so cool. So I went ahead and used them all on this one layout just so that way it could represent. But I didn't like how square my tire tracks, my treads were. And so now I'm just rounding those edges and scuffing them up. And of course, I do end up cutting off some of my tire treads because I did plan for these to go in the vertical, and now I'm having them go into the horizontal. So I knew that might have happened, but I wanted to make sure that if I did go vertical, I had enough tread to do that. So yeah, and normally if I would have known that this is what I was going to do, I would have only made them so long. So that way I did not waste any product, but it's not very much product. And I got to play with it to see exactly which direction I wanted. And all in all, it ended up being the pattern paper that chose that direction for me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get all of those glued on. And it amazes me how much time I spend on a background before I start embellishing. So sometimes the background is bam, done, and then other times it takes longer than the embellishing part. So I think that is just fabulous. I don't even notice it until I'm editing my videos, to be honest. So I'm going to take some liquid glue, and I am gluing the steering wheels only half on the page because that's what Kristen did in her sketch. Is she only has the circles partially. Now, I can't say half because it doesn't look like half, but it is partially on the page. And then I'm going to take Tim Holtz snips and trim those off, and they just work beautifully. I just now realized that she had circles on the top and the bottom of her layout too, or if you look at it in the right orientation, left and right. And I tried that for a brief second, and no, that wasn't, I didn't notice them, and it wasn't part of my plan. So yeah, I'm going to leave those off. I'm going to go ahead and get my photos set up so I can see what embellishments I have. And because Kristen left this kind of open, you decide where you want your embellishments type of deal. Because she did that, I definitely was wide open for where I was going to put my photos. Now, I did have my photos overlapping because, again, the size of my layout, I'm squishing everything together. So I squished the photos together, but I do have them going at a diagonal, just like Kristen does, and that gave me two little nooks at the in the corners of where the photos meet, in order for me to make cute little clusters. So it almost looks like my photos will be laying on top of all these tools and stuff. And, if you guys are familiar with race cars and stuff like that, the pit crew it seems like they're constantly, you always hear tools running and operating in the pit. Whether it's changing tires or, fixing something really fast, quick and easy type of deal, bolting down a flashing that probably came up or something. And so I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to use up, all the hundreds of wrenches that came in the garage kit with Minte. I also too thought it was a perfect way to use up one of those little old race car toys. Oh my gosh, it just made me giggle. Now it is the wrong blue and it is up front and, in your face. I didn't find a way to tuck it in and just have a little bit showing. But when I did try to tuck it in and have just a little bit showing, I have to tell you guys that it lost its appeal. You lose what it is. And so, yeah, I decided to have it up front and right there, even though it's not the right color or anything. I'm going to add a little bit of Dina Wakley white splatters, and there it is. Oh, my stars. I am so super excited about how this layout turned out. Now, most of my race car layouts are about my girlfriend's car, which is orange. And so I do a lot of orange and black. But because of her daughter-in-law's car being so bright and loud, it was fun changing it up just a little bit and doing such a bright, fun layout. I had a blast doing this and using up some of my Minte tools and all that good stuff, you guys. This was so fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly appreciate it. Kristen, thank you so much for an amazing sketch. This was so fun and so full of potential. Just using these stripes. It just is awesome. Don't forget to check out the 2 links down below. One is for Christy's playlist for all of us that are playing along here on YouTube. And then the other one is her Facebook group where everyone goes in and adds their layouts or their creations. I can't really say they're all layouts. Some people make cards. But they add their creations into the Series 12 album over on Facebook. So go check that out as well. Christy, thank you so much for doing this 3 times a year. You are a rock star. I love it so much. And thank you all again for stopping by, and I'll check y'all later. Bye.